Hello and welcome to Cooking with Julia. This evening I'm going to be preparing two separate types of sausage rolls for you. One with a pork base and one with a chickpea base. So first of all I'm going to run through the ingredients and the equipment that I'm going to need, and then we'll get cracking on how to do it. So for the pork based ones, you can get regular sausage meat or you can just get normal sausages. I have some nice super thin ones here. I'm going to do a garlic and thyme sausage roll. So I've got some fresh thyme here. You can of course use basil, you can use any dried herbs as well if there's anyone you particularly like. They go really well with most sausage rolls generally. Then we have two lovely little cloves of garlic. Again, if you love loads of garlic, put more in. If you don't like garlic that much, you can leave it out. We're going to be using juice from a lemon. Then I also have this ready to cook roll out puff pastry. This you can buy it in little and Aldi in the regular fridge. This one is actually one I have to defrost, so if you can get thawed one already, great. If not, the frozen is just as good. Then as well we're going to have some Ballymaloe relish, salt and pepper, and then we've got an egg as well. Equipment wise, you're going to need a baking tray with some baking parchment in it, or if you have a non-stick tray at home, that's fine. As well, we are going to need a spoon and we are going to need a fork, and then I've got a nice big serrated knife, and then I've got my normal chopping knife. So that's all of the bits for the pork based ones. Also, I have some disposable gloves. If you have disposable gloves, great. If you don't, I would recommend taking off your rings or any jewellery you have, because the sausage meat goes a bit everywhere. So then for our chickpea based ones, what we need is a tin of chickpeas in brine. My mum was out doing the shop getting me this stuff, and she said nowhere has chickpeas, so I actually had a pack in my press. So if you have some, great. If you don't, just keep your eyes peeled. Then for our chickpeas, we're going to have a bit of curry powder, a bit of ground cumin, some chili flakes. Then we've got red onion, lemon juice, 2 cloves of garlic, and then I like to use this peanut ryu when I use the chickpeas. If you don't have that, don't worry at all. I just like to use this because it has a great taste, and there's like nuts and sesame seeds and chili and oil, and it's the nicest stuff in the world. And again, we've got our roll of pastry, and we'll need our egg, salt and pepper, and again your Ballymaloe relish, or you can substitute your Ballymaloe relish with sriracha, with barbecue sauce, with ketchup. If there's any sauce that you really like, we're going to use the sauce on the pastry that's going to wrap around your sausage filling or your chickpea filling, and it just adds a little bit more decadence to it. For your chickpeas, you're also going to need a frying pan and a potato masher, and yeah, we'll get cracking. We are going to start off by doing our pork sausage rolls. So basically I'm going to show you how to remove the pork from the sausage casing. I always like to have a little bucket for putting my trash into while I'm cooking, so good to have one handy there. So basically what we're going to do is we're literally going to snip the top of the sausage off, and then very gently, because sometimes they burst, and it's okay if they burst, like this one's burst. But basically we're just going to squeeze out all that meat and hold onto the skin, because we don't want, or the casing, because we don't want that in our sausage rolls. And then again, with this end, you're literally just snipping off the end of the sausage, putting it in the trash, and then squeezing out, ripping off the case, whatever way you can get it out, do it. That's why sausage meat is easier, because it just comes as is. So right now in this bowl I have about 8 super queen sausages, so that's probably about 300 grams of sausage meat. And hold on to my gloves because I'm going to need them in a sec. But into this sausage meat mixture we are going to put some thyme, So I'll show you with your thyme. If you're using fresh thyme, you take your sprig and very gently, in the opposite direction that it grows, you're just pulling off the leaves one by one. If a little bit of stalk goes in, that's fine, but again, if you're using dried herbs, probably I would say a heaped teaspoon of dried herbs for 6 sausages. Then as well, I want to show you garlic. So we have, oh Jesus, my knife. So this is just a little top trick, 2 top tricks actually. Under your chopping board, put a wet piece of kitchen paper because it stops your board from slipping. And tip 2 about getting your skin off your garlic: if you get your chopping knife on top of the full clove of garlic, press down with loads of force, and you'll basically be left with a squished clove, and the skin just kind of comes off pretty simply here. So just make sure you chop off that butt. And then if you have a garlic crusher as well, use this here. We basically want to chop our garlic down and we want to squash it. We want to get it as crushed as we possibly can. So a little way of doing this is giving it an initial chop, not too worried about how it looks. And then we get our knife and we kind of push it all into a little pile in the center. And then with your blunt edge of your knife down, you're going to press the garlic into the chopping board. So for 8 sausages, I would recommend 2 cloves of garlic. I've chopped them already, but yeah, keep squishing that down and go back over with your knife, back over, back over, back over. Also, make sure your knife is nice and sharp. It just makes life a lot easier. And if you don't have a knife sharpener in your house, you can bring your knives to your local fishmongers or your butchers or wherever, any place like that, and they will sharpen your knife, usually for free. So yeah, basically we're just squishing it to get as much of that lovely garlicky taste out as we can. I think that kind of looks like it's fairly pulverized. So basically, we'll take that up, we're popping it in to our sausage mix. There's a little bit more left on the board. So that was 1 clove, and I'm going to just add like about a 2nd clove that I've already chopped. So now once you've got your herb, your garlic, your sausage meat, next up is your lemon juice. So with your lemon, nice lemon, give it a little roll, get those juices flowing. And a little trick I like to do is, when cutting your lemon, I don't have a little sieve thing that I can use, so you cut diagonally down so you get this shape, and then what you do is you just squeeze that in there. It will just get as much out. If there is any pips, put your hand underneath it and catch the pips and let the juice fall through your fingers. But that's loads of lemon. Bit of salt, nice, not too much. Sausage meat's relatively salty anyway. I love lashings of pepper. I'm going to keep going with that. And then basically what you're going to do is pop back on your gloves and give this a really great squeeze and mix. So basically you're just trying to distribute the garlic, the thyme, the lemon juice, the salt and the pepper. So not too, I don't have to do this for ages, but enough so that you look at it and you see a nice speckle of green through. Okay, that's probably enough. That's why you need your gloves, because imagine that all over your feckin' hands. So what I'm just going to do for now is make it into one nice little ball. That's where it fell off. Okay, I'm going to take off my gloves. If you've loads of gloves, just use a new pair. I don't have that many gloves, so I must be strict. So next up, we're going to prep our pastry. So as I said, this is ready to roll puff pastry, and this was one that was frozen, so I defrosted it. Always be a little bit gentle when you're rolling it out because sometimes it can crack. That looks pretty good. Also, if you don't have baking parchment, this comes on a parchment that you can also use. So what I'm going to do is get my Ballymaloe relish, and we're going to get our spoon and do a decent amount, but you want to keep it maybe about 1.5 inches, 2 inches in from the corner of the pastry. So we're going to spread this down. If you don't like Ballymaloe, as I said, you can use sriracha, you can use nothing at all. Like, to be honest, the pork and the thyme and the lemon is going to be pretty nice in there anyway, but I actually realised I didn't want to do the whole thing with relish, doesn't matter. So we're going to get our trusty gloves back on. And with our sausage meat, you want to basically just start rolling it in to get a cylinder. You can kind of squeeze it down. I don't know what jokes are going to be made about this, but anyway. So basically you kind of want to get enough so that you are covering the whole length of your pastry. Give it a little squeeze, do whatever you want to it there to mold it into a nice cylindrical shape. So once we have that done, we are going to fold over the remaining side of our puff pastry. So what you want to do is get it over snug so you have a nice cylinder of the sausage meat down there, and gently touch. And then I'm just going to get that garlic off that knife. And then basically what we're going to do is, again, once you know that your pastry is nice and snug in beside your sausage meat, you get your knife, and with about 1 inch from where the sausage meat is, you're going to just slide your knife down and pull away that excess pastry. You can save that for a little vol au vent or something, I don't know, whatever you fancy. And then with your fork, I'm going to turn it this way, you're going to get your fork and you're going to just press down to make sure the top layer of the pastry is merged with the bottom layer. This is going to take about 30 minutes in the oven to cook the sausage meat through, but you want to score the top of your pastry before it goes into the oven to make sure the sausage meat cooks properly throughout the whole thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for a diagonal. You basically just want to score through the pastry down to the top of the sausage meat. If you go in too deep, what will happen is you'll drag sausage meat out through this little score line that you're putting in. And as well, if you want to make one massive big sausage roll, you can just put this whole thing into the oven like this, but I am going to portion this into 3 decent sized sausage rolls, so it's going to be like 1, 2, 3. So what we're going to do now, if you don't have parchment, you can just transfer this whole thing onto your baking tray, but I am already lined up, ready to go. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3. So this is what they look like going in. Very, very quickly, I am going to crack an egg. A bit of egg glaze on the top of this will give it a lovely shine. If you don't want a shiny sausage roll, that's absolutely fine. I don't have a pastry brush, so I'm just going to use my hand to rub this all over. You want to make sure it's got a nice bit of egg all over it, because you'll notice when you take it out of the oven, if the parts that don't have the egg in it are this kind of dull not shiny looking pastry. Oh, doesn't matter if you have a bit extra left over, that will just burn off. So as well, I'm a big fan of pepper. I'm also a big fan of wiping my hands on my apron. So that's why I always wear one. So nice bit of pepper, and they're going into the oven at 180 for, I would say, check them after about 18 minutes and then make a judgment if the pastry is looking too brown, they're ready to come out, but the sausage meat does need about 20 minutes to cook fully through, so that is bothering me. But anyway, that is your pork-based sausage rolls. So they're going in the oven now. Okay, so we've had about 7 minutes of cooking our onion and garlic. So what we're going to do is toss all that to the side of the pan, and then we are going to add our drained chickpeas. I'm going to add about a heaped teaspoon of curry powder here, a decent shake of chili flakes, and then about half a teaspoon of cumin, a little bit of salt, and of course a fair bit of pepper. As well, if you have the peanut ryu, I would add in probably about a dessert spoon or two and a half heaped teaspoons. So basically what we're going to do is just cook off those spices, slightly toast our chickpeas and get that onion and garlic mixed in. It smells so good. So you can turn the heat up just a little bit for this. Maybe just under the 4, or maybe the 4 mark is okay. So basically we just want our spices to cook off. Oh, it smells so yum. You can kind of leave it for a minute, let it cook one side, and then move stuff around. I'm just going to turn up my light in my kitchen. So I would say you're cooking your chickpeas on your pan for maybe about 3 minutes, 3-4 minutes. And then what you're going to do is get your potato masher. I'm going to turn the heat right down here, but basically we're just going to mash these chickpeas. This is also absolutely unbelievable on toast, with a little bit of mayonnaise on your toast and then a fried egg on top, or in a pita bread or in a wrap. I actually got the idea from this filling. It's actually a friend of mine who's a vegan. She calls this vegan scrambled eggs, so she puts nutritional yeast in it too, but I don't have any of that. So once you've mashed most of your chickpeas up, you can probably knock off the heat at this stage. That's cooked through enough. So you're going to get all the shite out of your masher. And you are going to transfer this to a bowl. So we're in a bowl now. We have our mashed curried chickpeas here, and we are going to now just add a squeeze of lemon juice to this. That will just help it kind of bind together. It doesn't have the same consistency as the sausage meat. So again, other side of your lemon. Nice little chunk. Oh, there is seeds there. Anyway. Oh, sorry. We're going in. So give that a little mash around in our hands. So I think a tin is about 400 grams. So this is 400 grams of chickpea. So out we go with our sheet of pastry. I actually had a little taste of that and it's quite spicy, so I'm a bit of a baby with spice. The only sauce that you can't really put in the lining here is mayonnaise. So we're just going to do... Again, keeping it about 1.5 inches, 2 inches in from the edge of the pastry. And again, if you don't like Ballymaloe, if you don't want any sauce, you don't need it. So we're going to try, might be a bit of a Lego exercise. I also don't think we'll have enough to do the whole sheet, but not to worry. Okay, so we're a little bit shy here, so just be ruthless. Chop that away. We're going to do a fold over here. And again, now, I kind of wish I wasn't wearing the gloves because they're a bit dirty. So what I'm going to do is make that the underside. So we have a nice fresh side here. So trim, leaving about 1 inch. And then with our fork, this pastry is now quite defrosted, so it's gone a little bit gooey. So just quick, swift movements. And again, we're scoring the top. This is only going to need probably about 10-15 minutes in the oven because our chickpea filling is already cooked. So basically the only thing that we're doing is we're cooking our pastry. So just check the packet of your pastry, but it should be about, I don't know, 12 minutes. So I'm going to do 3. Going on our tray. These don't look as pretty as the other ones, but they're going to be tasty. And again, with our little beaten egg, this is my old iPod, which hasn't been updated since about 2009. So you never know what you're going to get music-wise. Okay, so they're nice and eggy. I'm going to pack them into the oven for, let's say, check at 12 minutes and then see if we need a few more minutes.